And you must believe that if you avoid, you're going to be rewarded for it. And then you also must believe that if you go against the principles, in the hereafter you'll be accounted for what you may have been doing. So then, in order to ameliorate the situation, it will be the responsibility of every individual and the responsibility of the society in its collectivity to make sure that our financial institutions are conducted in a way that is in line with the teachings of Islamic transactions, with the principles of Islamic transactions, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is our collective responsibility,
Yeah.
but sometimes even those institutions we believe, are ostensibly preaching or so-called, adopting the Islamic system, sometimes sway out of the way.
Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So what is the solution then?
And in fact, that is what they call, some of the ulama refer to as tahayyul. Just like trick. They're trying to beat the system, by giving the impression that they conduct business in accordance with Islam, when in actual fact they are doing some other things. And remember what I said to you: any financial institution which is involved in receiving money from people, whether you call it bank or you call it any other name, as far as the law is concerned, Islamic law is concerned, that institution is viewed as a lending institution, or it's an institution that is based on lending, either in the form of taking from people, or in the form of receiving from people, either giving or taking, taking from people. And all forms of loan, all forms of lending in Islamic law must not, how do you call it, accrue, it must not carry or bear any increase or any profit or any, how to call it, interest. In Islamic transactions, insofar as you call it lending or loan, the exact amount that you give out must come back to you the same, unless you forgive. It must not come back below. If you're giving out 1,000 in the form of a loan, that's why you're supposed to get back. If one butut is added to it, the transaction becomes haram. And this is why the financial transactions that do business, if from the money that they lend others, or the money that they receive from others, if any addition is made, that addition spoil the whole transaction and make it usurious or make it riba, because it is viewed under Islamic law as an institution which is based on lending and borrowing.
Okay.
These are lending, borrowing institutions. And when it comes to lending or borrowing money, the principle is very clear. Prophet Muhammad said it. When it comes to dealing with money and money, whether it is paper money, gold, silver, there is riba unless it is by direct exchange or direct transfer, and also of the same quantity and quality. If anything happens other than this way, it becomes a usurious or riba transaction, and therefore prohibited under Islamic law.
Okay. There's this important question, Doctor. What do you think is the standpoint of governments in the Gambia, for example? It's my personal impression that Gambia is a religious society. Yeah. It's a Muslim state. Yeah. It's not an Islamic state, but it's a Muslim state. Yeah. Even though that could contravene a section of the constitution which says Gambia is a secular state. Yeah. I personally believe that Gambia is a religious community, it's a Muslim state. So in a state like this, what should be the role of government? In the Gambia, in Senegal, for example, we are all on the same.
West Africa generally.
Yeah. Muslim communities, religious communities. Because I know even in Christianity, exploitation is not acceptable. It's we call it Adiana Samawiya. All these heavenly religions, don't allow exploitation. Okay. But should government also have a role? How can it support to regularize the situation?
In a situation where we call ourselves secular society.
Are we secular? Do you believe
No, because there's a confusion over the meaning of secularism. But let me just put it this way. When in a situation where we call ourselves a secular society, I think the way we are going now is fine, in the sense that the environment is liberated. You are free. Those of us that want to run Islamic financial institutions, they are allowed to do so, and it is happening. Now it becomes therefore a duty of all Muslims to rally behind them and support them. It is the responsibility, religious duty or divine duty of every Muslim to stand behind Islamic financial institutions in the Gambia. whether it is the Islamic Bank or the Takaful Insurance and all other Islamic financing institutions. It is, in fact, there are some of the ulama who say that if you have any Islamic, so Sharia-based financial institution in your community, it becomes haram for you to deal with a riba-based institution. Some of the ulama have made this fatwa. I've seen in some of the mashayikh of Egypt making this fatwa. So then it is very obvious. Have
you assessed the Islamic Bank in the Gambia?
No, well, that's a very good question, but I assume.
Okay,
I'm saying based on the assumption that Islamic banking is in line with the vision of Islam. Although, like I said to you before, so sometime while I was in Southeast Asia, some of the researches that we conducted, we found that some of the banks that call themselves Islamic banks, they are not Islamic banks because they violate the Sharia, the principle of Sharia when it comes to transactions. So if the Islamic bank in the Gambia and all other financial institutions in the Gambia, if they are doing business in accordance with the principles of Sharia, then it becomes a matter of duty for all Muslims to rally behind them. And also for them to make sure that they ensure the halal and the cleanliness of the money they earn.
Between them and God.
And between them and God. That is one thing. So, and I think this remedies the situation. But on the question whether we are secular or we are not secular, there's a very interesting book by Professor Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas. It's a Malaysian thinker. He's one of the best and the best known and the leading thinkers of the Islamic world. He said Muslims don't understand the meaning of secularism. Secularism happens only, and listen carefully, when religion ceases or when religion stops to influence your mind and your language. If religion doesn't influence your mind and your language, then you are a secular man, a person. Tell me, Abu Bakr, is there any among us in the Gambia whose mind is not being influenced by religion or whose language is not influenced by religion? Inshallah, this word, everybody speak inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Dua.
Dua. Pray for me. No, people go to mosque, they go to churches.
Everybody.
And they believe that sometimes somebody will say, look, me, I'm thinking of my grave tomorrow. You want me to do this? What am I going to tell God if I meet him? People go to churches. They carry the cross.
Yeah.
You understand?
The Bible.
You see the Alhajis putting their own Islamic thing. So
everything is
there is no person that I have seen in this country whose mind or language is not influenced by religion. And according to our task, any time that you are no more influenced, your language and your mind are not influenced by religion, then you are a secular man. So that is why I dispute.
Even Doctor, you are even going too far.
Yeah.
Even the Oxford dictionary we have, if you go and look for the meaning of secular, it will tell you that it is a community where religion doesn't interfere with the affairs, the state of affairs of people's life.
Yes. So and that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
so anyway, whatever the case is, but let's call ourselves secular because that's what we believe. And if that is the situation, the current setup solve the problem. You have conventional financial institutions, you have Islamic financial institutions,
and we have the opportunity to.
You have the opportunity, yes. So that's how solve the problem.
That is a big kudos to government.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Doctor, I think what we'll have to do there, viewers, this is a phone-in program where you can call and ask questions pertaining to what we're discussing today, and perhaps any question within the circle of riba. We'll take a break now, inshallah. When we come back, we'll open the lines for you to call and ask questions. Please, we appeal to you, do not ask questions out of bounds, out of what we're talking about, rather. So please, we crave your indulgence to ask questions surrounding riba and riba-related businesses. So we take this break now, inshallah.
علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى أرأيت إن كان على الهدى أو أمر بالتقوى أرأيت إن كذب وتولى ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى كلا لئن لم ينته لنسفعا
عدوان إلا على الظالمين. We thank